You feel that? Yeah, that's the NFL offseason heating up. And if you're not subscribed, then what the heck are you doing? Hit that big red button. Turn on those notifications because there's a lot of stuff to cover during the offseason. I mean, I don't even know if you guys just saw this. The Indianapolis Colts, they traded away Carson Wentz yesterday. There's that old saying, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. This is the channel that's going to make sure that you know everything going on around the Titans and what's going on inside the division. What's going on, Titans fans? It's Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, and we got a fun show here on tap today. Going to be talking about a lot of off-season news and rumors. We're going to be looking at free agency and some big names that, who knows, could actually be coming over here to Tennessee. When you look at the off-season outlook as it stands right now, NFL free agency, it opens on Monday. Now, technically, the new league year doesn't open until March 16th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. But you're going to see a lot of stuff ended up going down on the 14th. You got 7 picks in the 2022 NFL Draft. Some of your biggest needs are tight end, wide receiver, offensive line. No doubt about all of that going on. And for the Titans, you definitely can go out there and try to find some pieces. So what you're going to be seeing right now is the Titans tight end depth chart, And no disrespect to Swain, but I'm not really sure if I would want to bring him back. Ferkser, Pruitt, as you can see, they are all free agents, and none of them are realistically that too big of names. And with some of the other free agents out there, you could potentially see the Titans go out and sign somebody else. So here's your opportunity. What's the Titans' biggest need? Is it offensive tackle? Type OT. Is it offensive guard? Go ahead and type OG. If you want to go ahead and type tight end, go ahead and type TE. Now, here are some of the tight end targets that I believe the Titans could at least have some interest in. There's not really any great options out there, though. There are a lot of big household names like Rob Gronkowski, which I believe last time I checked his number is 87. At least that's what the commercial is. Super Bowl winning tight end, Rob Gronkowski. He's just kind of washed up at this point, and I do not see him going to Tennessee. What about Zach Ertz? 74 catches, 763 yards, 5 touchdowns last season. Ertz has always been one of these dudes that I have mad respect for. However, Father Time is starting to creep up on him a little bit. C.J. Uzomah, you got to watch him a little bit in the Super Bowl. Had some good flashes, 49 catches, 493 yards, 5 touchdowns. But y'all might think I'm crazy, and I don't know if I just have a soft spot for Evan Engram. I've always been a big fan of Evan Ingram's athletic ability. I just think he got put in a really bad situation for the New York Giants. But if you were to tell me out of all the players that I brought up here who would be the best fit with the Tennessee Titans, it's O.J. Howard, and if the glove fits, go ahead, bring him on in. And I get it, this guy has had some injury issues, but from an athletic standpoint, from a pass-catching standpoint, from a blocking standpoint, O.J. Howard is by far the best blocker from any of those names that you just saw, and that's what Tennessee wants. They want a blocking tight end who can also catch the football, and I really, truly believe that O.J. Howard should be that top guy. So out of all the free agents that we're going to be breaking down today, you're going to see a lot of names. You're going to see a lot of rumors. I want you to go ahead and name a player that you want the Titans to sign, whether it's on the offensive side of the football, whether it's on the defensive side of the football. Please go ahead and let me know because I'm going to be looking. Let's go to the wide receiver position. You got your top 2 dudes, A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, but you need a third guy. And Chester Rogers, he's in the slot, going to end up being a free agent here. I don't know if they're going to go out and break the bank on anybody. However, I could also make the argument that maybe you should because when A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, they're going to get injured. I can almost guarantee it. They're going to miss at least one game, so why not go out and try to get a top receiver, potentially, like an Allen Robinson. He's a big dude, 6'2", 220 pounds. Maybe you could potentially get him on a shorter year deal because he's coming off one of his bad years. He's a good receiver, and he can block. This guy is somebody who I really want Titans fans to keep in mind. It's Christian Kirk. He had 77 grabs last season, 982 yards, 5 touchdowns, a good slot receiver if need be as well. The next guy coming up here on the Dolphins, on the Titans free agent targets, it's Michael Gallup, and he's at 35 catches, 445 yards, 2 touchdowns. However, I see him going back to the Dallas Cowboys. Juju Smith-Schuster, I don't know if he's going to be dancing on logos or what he's going to be doing necessarily, but Juju's somebody else who could be willing to take maybe of a cheaper deal, and if he's your third receiver, you got to be feeling pretty good about it. Ced Wilson is the next guy to come up here on our free agent targets for the Tennessee Titans. 45 grabs, 602 yards. I thought he really stepped up pretty well this past season in Dallas. OBJ suffered his second ACL injury in the Super Bowl, but you know he has that burst. You know he has the athletic explosion, and if he does come back 100% healthy, I mean, imagine an offense of Derrick Henry, OBJ, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones. Imagine that a few years ago. That would be unbelievable. Good luck trying to stop that. So be honest with me, y'all, because I know a lot of people are very split on OBJ for the simple fact of he can be very in your face. Some people would use the word diva. Do you want OBJ to be a Titan? I want you to type OBJ for yes or no BJ for no. The next receiver coming up here is actually somebody who I think would be a really good fit. It's Emmanuel Sanders. He had 42 grabs, 626 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Could be that really good option to be that wide receiver 3. The next receiver coming up is going to be Will Fuller. He had a really bad season this past year for the Miami Dolphins. Just simply could not stay healthy. Had only 4 catches. 3 of those came in week 1 up against the Raiders. But if you're looking for a field stretcher and if Fuller's healthy, it could be a pretty good pickup. Let's now talk about the offensive line here for the Tennessee Titans. Unfortunately, you just lost Saffold, which is obviously really going to hurt the interior line. David Questenberry is actually one of my favorite right tackle options. But if you're looking to build the interior or just offensive line in general, there are some good names out there to at least keep in mind. The top guy I would say for Tennessee would be Brandon Scherff. This dude is an absolute mauler in the run game, just beats up people. And if you're telling me, or if I'm a defensive lineman and I'm like, all right, I got to try to beat Brandon Scherff, then I got to go try to tackle Derrick Henry, that just doesn't seem like something fun I'd want to do on Sundays. Next guy coming up here is left guard Laken Tomlinson, another really good run-blocking guard from top to bottom. He's also a solid pass blocker, and if you're looking at somebody that can fill some shoes or some holes for Saffold, definitely a guy that I like a lot. Connor Williams of the Dallas Cowboys, another good option. Since he's come out of Texas, he's had some up and some down games, but at the end of the day, who hasn't? I'll say back-to-back years where he's been a top 15 guard. Alec Kapka, 17 games last season, allowed 5 sacks allowed, 6'6", 305 pounds. But the next guy coming up here is actually somebody who I would really be interested in if I was the Titans. He had played some time at guard, right guard, left guard. He even has some time at center. And for somebody like Tennessee that has more than just one need on the interior offensive line, definitely somebody to keep in mind. So what I want you guys to do is before I go, smash that subscribe button, because if you want more Titans videos, you got to click the sub button, because the more subs we get, the more videos we can go ahead and drop here on our channels. Remember, we're trying to get to 3,000 subs. Let's go to Ryan Jensen, the interior offensive lineman, the center of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's a position group that we're going to be breaking down next year. He's the top center in the market, and I don't really know if it's all that close. And if you want, again, somebody who's going to bring that tough mentality, something that I know Mike Vrabel wants, Jensen's a guy to keep in mind. Bradley Boosman, the next player coming up here, played last season with the Baltimore Ravens, 16 games, 3 sacks allowed. Here's where you're going to have another bit of a teardrop. Like, Ryan Jensen's clearly number 1. Boosman's clearly number 2, and then Brian Allen's kind of like this type of player. He played 16 games last season, won a Super Bowl. That's all great, but if you want a center, you got to go out and try to get one of those top 2 guys. So here's the idea. Make the call. Should the Titans just re-sign Ben Jones? I want you to type Y for yes, or you can go ahead and type N for no. With the whole OBJ thing, I wish we would have just said BJ for this one for yes. So when you look at the Titans linebacking unit now, definitely some notable names here. You re-sign Harold Landry to a 5-year, $82 million deal, but with Rashaan Evans as a free agent, Bud Dupree was definitely not what you were hoping for, but still was able to bring some edge rushing mentality. Let's look at some options here. And Donta Hightower, this is more just about the connection to Vrabel, more about the connection with some past players on the New England Patriots. Bobby Wagner, he's now the new top linebacking option out there. Not that the Titans wouldn't be interested. You'd be stupid to not be interested in Bobby Wagner. It's just I had Hightower before Wagner for the simple fact of it's more likely to end up happening. So here's your opportunity to be the analyst. Mitch, you're an idiot. You don't know anything. Or, Mitch, I like the content you provide. Please let me know what is the biggest area of need for the Titans. Type O for offense or D for defense. It's time now to go to some defensive tackles where you got Daquan Jones, who had 38 tackles last season, 1 sack, a tackle for loss, and a forced fumble at 6'4", 320 pounds. Derek Nandi, 38 tackles last season, 3 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Not that this isn't a big need for the team, but these are names to keep in mind due to past connections and the Titans not wanting to go out and break the bank on defensive line.